That'll do. Hey, hello, folks. So, just made my coffee, and I talk a lot about diet and things, right? Whole foods diet. Got a massive uh page dedicated to it on my website. If you go over to uh andyholt.co.uk, and then on there it's called Diet Plans and Recipes. And I talk about everything that I do for diet. I think it's like massive. So, if you're um, going to the gym, if you're going to spend your time exercising or whatever, trying to get healthy, in shape and stuff, and you go into the gym, and I always make the joke that you see some people that are sort of running on a treadmill for an hour in the gym every day, yet they don't lose any weight. And, 3 years later, they're fatter at the end of it after doing an hour a day on the treadmill than when they first went in, which is quite funny. So an absolute massive part of it is diet, right? And it's so important, right? I train enough, but I'm not like overtraining or anything, but I always stay lean, good shape, all that stuff. And most of it, like I say, it's just diet. You can train as much as you want in the gym, but if your diet's not on point, you won't get anywhere. So it's really important. So if you head on over, right, I don't know if you can see it. I just got this. This is my website, andyholt.co.uk, and I've got on there under resources, diet plans and recipes. Click that, and this pops up, and you've got it. It's quite long because I'm trying to explain everything. I've got an overview, what my primary principles are about whole foods as a priority, high protein as a priority, low overall calories for longevity, and generally lower in carbohydrates. Certainly no bad processed carbohydrates. And with carbohydrates or fats, there's ways to time them. So I kind of explain that. I've got a section on carbohydrates versus fats. The reason why I go low carb is more for uh, longevity. So it tends to lower your inflammation. And if you know anything about all the biggest killers, all the big diseases, they're all based on inflammation. So I like to keep my inflammation low. Then I go into estimating your daily calories, 3 benefits to eating meat, but what I mean is protein. There's also, I've got a section on meat-free protein sources. 'Cause I've done a lot of sort of vegetarian and vegan cooking, and you can do all the same. There's just a lot, just different knowledge. You need different knowledge. It's not just as simple as eating, the popular plant-based proteins, because you might be missing some of the amino acids. You might need some supplementation to sort of top up things like leucine, and also B12 as well is one thing to watch out for. And then I go into this section here, tips for eating out. I don't know if you can see that. It's really important when you eat out. Um, you go to a restaurant, even if it's like Michelin starred restaurant, the best restaurant you're going to go into. Don't assume that all the produce is uh hey, how you doing? Indonesia. Wow, that's good. Anyway, when you go to a restaurant, right, don't assume commercial restaurants, if you go into them, don't assume that all the produce there that they're using is not processed, is whole foods, right? Because just think about um, the incentives for everyone involved. That restaurant has an incentive to make money, and it makes sense for them to preserve that food as long as possible so that they can sell it. Because if they don't preserve it, um, it'll go off or whatever, and then they won't be able to sell it. Then they're losing money. So they'll always try and use products that are preserved. That's generally in things like sauces and stuff like that. The meat's the meat, as long as it's good quality. Usually, if it's like a really high-end restaurant, they'll be using good quality meat. Not always, you can't guarantee that. But yeah, so when you eat out, you've got to be mindful of things like what are the things on this menu that are likely to be processed or have preservatives or whatever, right? That's one thing. I would certainly, a couple of tips for eating out is I just order when I go out, like if you get like, I always get like steak or something or chicken, right? Just high protein. And because I know if a steak comes out, it's actual steak, right? I don't get the sauce and all that stuff, just get the steak. Veggies, and then if they have chips with it, they always seem to sort of chuck chips on or something a lot of places. Just ditch the chips, extra salad. So just steak, veggies, and salad, and that's all I eat. And I also think when you go out, it's always better if you can fast a bit. You know what I mean? I know it sounds boring, but don't be having the flipping cheesecake and that. Maybe what if it's your birthday, yeah, but I try and do without that stuff. So you can still enjoy eating out, because I do. I love eating out. I always travel. And yeah, the other thing is when you're traveling, if you're on the road, just before we get onto the topic, just when you're eating out, when you're traveling and you're driving about, I used to do a lot. Got a software business, a lot of time on the road. There was a lot of service stations and things like this. Yeah, the temptation, or even if you work in a city and you're sort of just walking about, the temptation is to dive in the shop and get a sandwich, isn't it? Don't do that. Don't get a sandwich. I'd rather starve than eat a sandwich. Terrible, really, all processed and stuff, and it's just no. So, what I would say is, if you go into a service station, grab a pack of cooked chicken, and they always have like a couple of boiled eggs ready. They're not going to be the best eggs. They're not going to be organic or anything like that. Pack of cooked chicken, couple of boiled eggs, off that. Forget the sandwiches. If you want to do, you can pick up some salad, but I would also say don't worry too much. I say this on my website on my uh, this page here, the diet plans page. Um, don't worry too much about your micronutrients when you're out and about. It's okay to have a day off salad, right? Just get your protein, prioritize some cooked chicken or some or whatever. It might not be the best quality chicken. That's what you should eat. Nothing else. No sandwiches, no crisps or shit out the. Yeah, you could grab some of these sort of like finger veggies, but that's up to you. Just stay away from the sandwiches. And the other one I've got here now, protein shakes and protein bars. They're a last resort. Right. I would avoid them if you can and get actual, real chewable food like actual chicken. Right. Anyway, I go on to supplements, blood tests, things like this, right? And then life extension biohacking, right? And then I go into some recipes, right? Now, most of the recipes on my website, you'll see they're all the same thing. They're all protein and salad, protein and veg, right? Because that's all I eat. I just eat like I can eat steak 3 or 4 times a day with like some veggies or some salad, right? Or some chicken or whatever, right? And if you're not eating meat, then obviously you need your other protein. But what principally I'm sticking to them, sorry, I'm sticking to them principles that I say right at the top of that page, which is whole foods, high protein, low overall calories, and low carbohydrates, or certainly no processed carbohydrates, no white, like direct white carbs, no bread or anything like that. So all the meals I have on here, uh, yeah, like this one here, the eggs and salmon. I cook this a lot. It's just like a breakfast. It's the best breakfast, and to be honest, everyone likes that. It's really tasty. Now today's um, discussion is about how to help your family. So if you've got kids, right, or family members, and let's say you're doing a meal for 4 to 6 people, right? It, it, trying to force this diet down a normal person in your family is going to be hard work, right? I say my diet is it's functional. I'm not looking at it for taste. It's just what do I need nutrition wise. I do actually make it taste quite good, but you have to get used to that diet. You know, it's normal. Most people, vast majority of people, they're kind of hooked on that Western diet. And I think I've got this great book here. Where is it? Oh, here, right. This one, Ultra Processed Foods, Chris Van Tulk. I don't know if you've seen this guy. Um, he does a lot. You can find him online. He's done a lot of like TED Talks and lectures. And he's a bit of an anorak, to be fair. He goes into the minute detail of how much shite is in bread and things like this and all the processed foods. And he reckons that the average person has about 80%, up to 80% whole foods in the diet. Sorry, 80% processed foods in the diet. That's shocking. Because most people don't want to learn to cook or don't cook. They just take stuff from a takeaway, whatever. Buy something from the shop, a sandwich, all that stuff, right? So if a lot of people, what Chris is saying is a lot of people have up to 80% processed foods in the diet. That's shocking. And so all my recipes on my website, they're all based on whole foods and that high protein. But when it comes to cooking for others, right? Let's say like I say, you got a cook for 4 to occasional glass of wine is fine. To be honest, I like that. Yeah, I think you're okay with that. Um, I do talk about alcohol too somewhere in this, and there are there are better alcohols. No alcohol is good for you, right? But there are better alcohols than others. And like for me, the worst thing you can do is drink pints of beer. There's loads of calories in it, and I stopped drinking pints of beer and swapped to say whiskey or gin, which has virtually hardly any calories in it, a long time ago, and I've not drunk a pint of beer in years now, and I feel better for it. But yeah, I think the glass of wine. Uh, when I go out, it's not often, and I limit it to like 2 drinks if I do, and then just flip to water. I think I'd love to go full teetotal. Kind of is a goal. It's not an important goal, so but definitely cutting back on drinking. The occasional glass of wine is fine. Anyway, back to cooking for family. So we've got this diet, my diet. It's basically just whole foods, eggs, fish, meat, beef, chicken, that kind of thing, right? Vegetables and salad. And that's pretty much, I just eat that on rotation. But when if you've got a cook for the whole family, you'll never try and force this on them straight away. You've got to do it in increments. And the reason being is because, as Chris says in this book, you know, most people are addicted to processed foods and all them bad carbohydrates. And, like kids, they love chips and shite and ice cream and stuff. And there's loads of crap in ice cream. And, even your elderly parents and you just like my dad, he loves all that stuff. And I'm trying to I always work on him, to reduce. He does eat a lot of veg and things, but when you cook for them, you can't, this kind of like functional diet, because I do eat functionally, right? You can't force that functional diet on everyone else. So on my right at the bottom, I've got an example of what I do, right, for a quick meal, and I've called it chicken pasta bake, right? Now, first, pasta, you shouldn't have pasta, right? Reduced pasta. If you're going to eat carbohydrates, I would always go potato or rice, right? Not pasta. And I talk a lot on this on my website about when to eat them and why and how much, right? So it's all in moderation. But this chicken pasta bake is not actually pasta. There's a little bit of pasta in. So when I do this, it's really quick, right? So all you do, you can buy chicken already diced up, right? Air fry it so it's cooked. Put in a pan 40 grams of pasta per person max, probably less, right? A small amount of pasta. And then you want an absolute ton of veg, like a couple of onions, carrots, like peas. Peas are really good. You can frozen peas are fantastic. They're one of the brilliant things in science where you can put them in the freezer. Only thing, a lot of things you can't put in the freezer and they come out the same. Peas come out exactly the same, straight in. Put loads of peas. So basically, you want to fill it up with all this different sort of veg. Like 60% of it is veg, tiny bit of pasta, and then an absolute ton of chicken, right? And I mean a ton of chicken for like if you're cooking for kids and things like that. Try and get an abnormal amount of chicken down and like in this meal, like maybe 150 grams each kid. Right, and certainly your parents, if you're cooking for like parents or siblings and things like your brother or your sister, just give them like a couple of 100 grams of chicken, right? So put an absolute ton of chicken in. And then all you do is just make a nice sauce, and you can either buy a pre-prepared sauce. On this occasion, you probably get away with it. I know the pre-prepared sauces have got preservatives in them and things like that, but that is a really quick one. It takes about 20 minutes to prep, and I just bang it in the oven. Big, and it's predominantly chicken and veg, and there's a little bit of pasta in, but you call it a pasta bake. And I don't know if it's like a psychological thing. They're on board with it because they think they're getting pasta. That is about the worst thing that I'll eat, but it's still not too bad. And the macros on it are pretty good. You get high protein, carbs are not ridiculous. Yeah, there are a lot of carbs in veg. And then the other thing that I always do, so for the family, what I always find is, and this comes down to you being organized. So I probably do. Um, I've got family around. I always do like a cooked chicken, like a roast chicken. Last night I did like a massive piece of roast beef, right? And so if you just get used to roasting things, and I've got a couple of videos on roasting, so roast chicken, roast beef, some roast potatoes. So when you do, and a lot of veg, and when you're dishing this stuff out, if you're on the the meat and veg diet and you're not eating any carbs, just leave the spuds off for yourself. Or maybe if you're gonna have a couple of raw spuds, right? That's fine. But don't be giving, don't be. You can adapt this yourself. You just have a shed load of chicken. If you're doing a roast chicken, a load of chicken, load of veg, couple of raw spuds for you, and then for the kids, you're gonna do chicken. Other thing when you do a roast chicken, the kids always want the breast meat, don't they? That's the meat that they want. So you've got to give them that. And the other trick is if you can, see if your kids will have some chicken skin. You should always eat the skin, right? Chicken skin, because that's where the natural glycine is, right? And if you on my page, I have a section on supplements going into why glycine's important. 1/3 of collagen is glycine, right? And it's such an important thing because we don't make enough of it. I think you're on a permanent deficit of glycine. Your body cannot make enough. I think it only makes about 3 grams, yet you need 12 grams a day. So it very much relies on diet. And uh, I said in a few videos, historically, fucking hell, probably more like just a couple of decades ago, when you'd eat a whole chicken, you'd eat the whole animal, skins, legs, ligaments, absolutely everything. The whole animal would get devoured. There'd just be a pile of bones left. Today, everyone's like just eating chicken breast and not eating anything else. And this is it. You're missing out on the glycine because all the glycine is contained in the skins and the ligaments, and you should eat that stuff. So I always do. I give myself the chicken legs. I have all the skin. I try and put a little bit of skin on others. So if you got your family, try and get them to eat a little bit of like chicken leg or chicken skin or something like that, just so they get the natural glycine. Another quick one as well, and this might be a bit controversial, but if you got kids and you make them porridge in the morning, right? And you really shouldn't eat carbs in the morning. I explain about that on other videos, but I'll accept a bit of porridge every now and again, right? So if you're gonna eat, you're better off do them eggs or something like this. for the morning. It's a better breakfast. Eggs are far better nutrition. But if you do porridge in the morning for your kids, sneak a bit of glycine powder in it and just mix it in. I would mix in a little bit of collagen peptide, collagen powder, and a little bit of glycine into the porridge. They won't know, they won't taste it. And all you're doing is just not a lot because they're just kids, remember? You're just topping them up a little bit. Yeah, all right, cheers. Yeah, so just you're not meant to. So be careful, the special kids supplements and things like this. I buy like all that kind of thing, but you can sneak in a little bit of glycine in the porridge. So yeah, that's what I do. I just cook big roast dinners, roast chicken, roast beef, with the veggies, get plenty of veggies down them, and you can make it all you do if you want to make your chicken taste nice. Um, I just use lots of butter, and I always like you try and get organic butter, lots of butter, garlic, salt, and pepper, and that is it. Just loads of salt, like Himalayan salt or rock salt, and it tastes great. Just keep it going. You can make a really nice, tasty roast chicken, and the kids will love it. Try and sneak a bit of skin down them, like I said, and make sure they eat the veggies, broccoli, all that kind of stuff, and you're good to go. Just try and avoid the pizzas and stuff like this. So gradually, if you're in a position where, let's say, your kids are when kids go through these phases, like when they're really young, like one, toddlers, you can give them finger food like little carrot sticks and things like this, and they do all right. They'll literally eat what you give them. But once they get to sort of 3 or 4, they start developing a bit of an awkward taste, like an awkward diet. And they want to default to things like chicken nuggets and all this stuff, like the fucking um, everything in the oven job. And you might have that for a couple of years, and then, but your job should be slowly to move them closer to a whole foods diet, and it's very tricky. Like I say, most people, included, it's like they're born addicted to like bad carbohydrates, um, and only because they're a baby are they compliant with you giving them this finger food. So, but life's life, and you tend to slip. So let's say you've slipped, and your kids are on this kind of processed food diet. They won't eat anything that's not chicken nuggets or pizza or whatever. Your job should be to slowly move them towards a whole foods diet. They're never going to be on this kind of like beast meal type, just steak and veg every day, 3 times a day, like I do. You're not going to turn them into like them type of people where they're just going to be having steak and veg on rotation. Um, you've got to be a bit more strategic, but it involves just some simple cooking skills, like learning how to roast like a big sirloin joint or something, like a beef joint, or how to roast a chicken very quickly. It's like I do this most evenings. I like roast a chicken or roast a big lump of meat. Um, and it's very quick. Like you can literally go from having the meat stored in the fridge to out prepared. Like I say, you just need butter, garlic, salt, and pepper. Bum 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 bum. Put it on. A little bit of water in the bottom so it doesn't, on the tray. Foil in the oven. Leave it like it's dead simple. Leave it an hour. Pull it out. Baste it. Have a look at it. Maybe put it back in for a few more minutes. Then take the lid off. The foil lid. Baste it again. Crank it up to like quite high, like 230, 240 degrees, just to sort of like, you don't want the top too brown either because you don't want burnt food, but just brown it off a little bit. And it's actually very efficient once you get going with this stuff. It's just learning how to, it's almost becomes like a motor skill where you can just get it. I can get a chicken out the fridge in a roasting tin, prepared in about 5 minutes, like, or 10 minutes in the oven. It's faster than trying to cook one of these pizzas. Well, no, the length of it takes longer, but in terms of the prep time, it's so quick. I can do it in 5 or 10 minutes. It's in the oven, and it takes a long time. You just do it early, get on with your day, and then come back periodically. So it becomes a motor skill, and your job should be to learn how to make these big roast meals, and also look at things like my uh, chicken pasta bake, which you could say is a bit of a con because there's not much pasta in it. Call it chicken pasta bake just to get it past everyone. But really, I'm giving them a ton of chicken and a ton of veg, and a tiny bit of pasta. But they don't know the difference because it looks like a pasta bake, right? But things like that are very quick. You can prepare that in sort of like, it's funny because the chicken pasta bake, which sounds like a simpler meal to make than the full chicken roast, actually takes a lot more prep time. I'd say the chicken pasta bake is 20-25 minutes prepare, because it takes you, say, I would say about 20 minutes to air fry the chicken. So if you got to cut it up into chunks, or if you buy it pre-cut up into chunks, it depends how you've got it. So you just get like a lot of chicken breast. Yeah, it's at least 20 minutes in the air fryer, sometimes a bit longer. You've also got to boil your tiny bit of pasta and your big chunk of veg. Get that cooking, drain it, season it, make your sauce, put your chicken in, mix it all up, put it in the tray, cheese on top, in the oven. That takes a lot longer than preparing a full roast chicken for the oven. Last night I did like a big, massive chunk of beef, and I undercooked it because just on roast beef, it's very easy, even with a steak. Like, I have my steak blue, absolutely as rare as it can be. Uh, and I think the easiest thing to do is overcook steak, and you can also overcook roast beef very easy. So that's a bit of an art. If you're cooking for family, the outside will get cooked and maybe the inner's a bit more succulent. If you've got kids, you're giving them the outsides, aren't you? And you're having that, if you're like me and you love it bloody, you're having that middle bit. Um, that's how to do it. So yeah, go and head on over to my website for some ideas. Most of these meals on here um, are for me, basically, just for you eating them. So go to andyholt.co.uk and then go to resources, and it's called Diet Plans and Recipes. There's a massive long information at the start talking about why you should eat whole foods and all the all my anecdotal science. Um, and then I go into things, all my recipes. Now, this one here, this is 5-minute keto eggs with salmon. My favorite breakfast. Cook this all the time. I've got a fantastic video on YouTube about it. So if you go there, there's a little video link. All the macros are there. The two most important ones are this eggs and salmon here, which is just scrambled egg, onion, pepper, salmon. Sometimes I put mushroom in it, right? And then the next one is my cousin and my brother always take the piss. They call it gourmet beef. It's basically just organic shredded beef, onion, pepper, mushrooms, cheese, right, and a bit of, well, olive oil. I actually use avocado oil. I should change that. Um, but you can eat this 3 times a day and you'll just be an absolute beast. It'll just keep your body composition lean, retain your lean mass and your muscle. And it takes some getting used to, because you haven't got, you wonder if you're used to that sort of Western diet where you've got all them carbs in there. You'll be getting some cravings, but once you get going with this, I virtually have no cravings now. So yeah, check them out. And then the other ones are just things like, if you look at a chicken salad here, which is just chicken, like I've got 171 grams of chicken giving you 51 grams of protein. Just buy a bag of salad, from the shop, or you can make your own, or little gem lettuce or whatever, few tomatoes, onion, pepper. And to make the salad taste good, I just get, again, just garlic, salt, pepper, and just mix it. And then if you're going to use mayo, just use some of this light mayo, just a bit, and just, I know mayo's processed, but it's a tiny bit, right? And chicken, and it'll be amazing. You can do the same with steak, so you can like cook a sirloin or a rump, and you can eat like half a kilo of salad, like a big bowl of this stuff. And I always have it heavy, I'll be having like cucumbers in there, tomatoes, really heavy salad, and you can literally eat half a kilo of it, really stuff yourself, and there'll be like no calories, like 100 calories, 200 calories. So it's a really good way, and obviously there's lots of micronutrients. So chicken and salad, steak and salad, or my gourmet beef, which is just basically steak and a bit of salad and a bit of veggies, and that's it. But don't forget the breakfast, eggs and salmon. I don't think there is a better breakfast. And if you just eat these meals on rotation, it just makes uh, your health and fitness just a whole lot easier. So, think about you're spending all that time going to the gym, training, working out. You're just making it harder if you're eating shite. You know what I mean? So if you just eat things like this, just on rotation, just eggs, meat, salad, veg, no bread, you just make it easier. Like I say, I can just eat steak. I just eat steak and veg 3 times a day, and it just keeps you um, a beast, absolute lean, tight. Makes all your training easier, staying in shape. And that's it. It just takes some discipline and getting used to. But like I say, it's a functional diet. I actually like the taste of it, but when you first do it, you're probably like, "Oh, this is horrible," because you've got the cravings from this shit, bread and whatever, right? But once you get past the cravings, it becomes a lifestyle thing, and then your job is to slowly wean your family off the cravings too of the typical Western diet. Start by doing the meals that I got on here at the bottom, the chicken pasta bit, which is not really got much pasta in it. That's an easy one because everyone will eat that. And then do a lot of roast, like chicken roast and like beef, chicken roast, beef roast. If you can get them on fish, get them on fish. One thing I do, little trick for fish is just to get salmon, right, like smoked salmon, and just roll bits of cheese inside it, just little bits of cheese, and roll it, different cheeses, like you call them cheese salmons. Kids will have that, they'll like that if they like salmon. Give them one of them. It's like a little treat. Or you can do the same with bits of like thin beef. Just wrap cheese in it, and they'll have that just as a little snack. Better than crisps and stuff. But yeah, if you want to get some, you can get like a pack of salmon, 100 grams of salmon. It's loads of protein, enough protein for a kid for a day in that. You can give that whole 100 grams of salmon to a kid if they like salmon, just by rolling a bit of cheese in it and just rolling them up like little snacks, and they'll just fork them one by one. They've got all the protein down them. No better way to try and get protein down a kid than things like that. So go and have a look at my diet plans and recipes page, andyholt.co.uk. On there, go to resources, diet plans and recipes. Let me know what you think. All right. See you all next time.